Going on, guys? Getting ready to call it a night. I figured why not fire up the camera real quick and give you guys just a little bit of a peek into a project I've been working on, and maybe talk about a couple things you might expect coming out of the shop here, hopefully in the very near future. I'm just going to do kind of a high-level overview here. I don't want to get too involved with details or make this too drawn out, as my videos are sometimes prone to do. But just wanted to show you a little bit, the rabbit hole I've been jumping into, which is how to make a better sheath, and more specifically, how to make a better screwdriver sheath. Now, some of you guys may remember, I think I posted a video quite some time ago now on when I first made this guy. For what at the time was my daily carry screwdriver at my job as an HVAC tech at a hospital. I was carrying this guy pretty much every day. I used it multiple times a day. Usually just stick it in my pocket and going. And I finally got tired of having it in there, forgetting about it, and sitting on it and poking myself, poking holes in my pants and my pockets and chairs into myself, and so on and so forth. So I decided, why not make a sheath? So I made this guy. I put a kind of Tech Lock style belt clip on it, clipped it to the belt, and immediately knew that I found my solution to my problem. And that's how I'd pretty much been carrying a screwdriver ever since. Now, the only changes was, I was carrying this guy for the longest time until Klein came out with this guy, which is kind of an improvement on that original 11-in-1. And they went and made it an impact rated version that could also be separated into adaptable bits that can go into your drill or impact driver. And as soon as I saw that, I knew that was going to be my new daily carry. Picked one up, but unfortunately it did not fit into this sheath. And you could pretty quickly see why when you hold them side by side. One is quite a bit longer than the other. And at the time, I made this pretty close to tolerance. Although this looks a little sloppy and oversized on the diameter, the length was pretty close. And because of that, this guy wouldn't fit in here. Now, if you take one of the bits out, it fits quite well. But, that defeats the purpose of having the screwdriver. So ended up revising the sheath design, came up with something very similar to this. That one is actually currently my daily carry at work. Pretty much identical to this. There's a couple little differences, but came up with this, basically just, lengthened the inner chamber here. Also kind of cleaned up the profile a little bit. And you can kind of see just side by side the differences here. One looks kind of sloppy and thrown together. One looks a little more intentional. A lot cleaner, a lot simpler, a lot tighter forms. And was much happier, not only with the screwdriver, but with the second sheath. And then, of course, I got to thinking, what if I wanted to make more of these? Should I do it the traditional way, the slower way that I kind of made this one and the first one of these? Or was there a better way? And that's when I kind of got into vacuum forming. Which led to building a vacuum press, as well as a few other tools. And that's kind of where we're at in the video now. So this is my vacuum press. And again, I'm not going to get into the whole, how, who, where, and why just yet. I do plan on eventually making some more detailed process and in-progress videos. But this one, I just want to kind of whet your guys' appetite a little bit and kind of show you where we're going here. So got to researching these, saw a couple videos online of some guys building them, saw some commercially available units, kind of made some guesses and some eyeballs, and, made my own version, which actually ended up working quite well. So it's basically just a vacuum table. It's got a secondary silicone membrane. You fold over a split die, which I made on my CNC machine. Which is basically just both halves of this screwdriver here. Put your hot Kydex over the die, close this, hit the vacuum, which I've got for my HVAC work. I've already had a vacuum press, and then I added a foot pedal to it. So, I can have both hands up here. And I'll just show you real quick how this works. So if we open the valve, close the vent, just takes a couple quick seconds. That sucks tight to the mold. You know, normally you would have your Kydex already on there. Then you could take a blowgun, cool it off almost instantly. As soon as it's hardened up and ready, you vent it, open it up, peel your Kydex off, and take it on to the next process, which for me involves some trim dies that I made. Once I drill my holes, I can then mount them to these trim dies. Got to cut the piece in half, put each half on a trim die, and then I've got this homemade router table that I can then trim it flush with a flush trim bit. And, then go on to the final step of kind of putting everything together and finishing the sheath, where ultimately I end up with something like this. So belt clips in place, spacers, Chicago screws, and what ultimately ends up into a nice clean little package, I think. Nice and form-fitting, low profile for the most part. Maybe looks a little bit bulky in hand, but actually fits very, tightly to your body. Once you stick it on the belt, you almost forget it's there till you need your screwdriver. Definitely a lot better of an option than sticking it in a pocket or, in a tool bag that's far away from you when you need it. So this is kind of the final product. Now I'm still making improvements to the overall design. Still need to add, some sort of maker's mark, which will probably just be my name engraved, somewhere on the front of the sheath or maybe even down the middle shaft there. Still kind of thinking about that. But ultimately it's going to look something like this, and I hope to start, I'm going to say mass producing, but, more rapidly producing, I should say. I'm probably not going to make 1,000 of these, but just make a handful for guys who want them, who maybe think similar to me or have similar needs, and kind of see where it goes. But one thing I did want to show you guys also is, I have put quite a bit of thought into this. So this is kind of a semi-universal design. So at the very least, it very nicely fits this guy, which it was originally designed for. And of course, in any configuration, nice and tight. That thing's never coming out of there on accident, but just, a couple fingers, you can pull it right out. So perfect fit, easy in, easy out, but never accidentally falling out. And then, of course, it also works on the original 11-in-1 in any configuration. And it also happens to work with this 8-in-1 HVAC screwdriver in any configuration that it would be in, whether you have your nut driver side or your bit side. That fits very nicely and perfectly into there as well. So, you can use it with a variety of client screwdrivers. I believe there's even other brands that kind of clone this design that would probably fit in here as well, though, I'd have to have them to test them. And I'm sure there's other Klein drivers that will fit in this as well. These are just the three kind of most common ones, or the ones that I have. But, just suffice to say that it fits all of them very nicely and very comfortably, and very happy with how this came out. So just wanted to show that to you guys. Again, future videos, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into how to use this guy and probably a little bit more of my process, kind of the secret sauce, if you will. And, I'm still always thinking about improvements and efficiencies and ways to make things better. But I just figured, why not show you guys just a little taste of it. And just maybe also mention that I do hope to have some of these available for sale in the near future. Again, I'm still kind of refining the process, refining the design a little bit. I'm not going to say I want it to be perfect before it goes out, but I want it to be pretty dang close. And I think I'm already there, to be honest. but there still are some ideas for improvements for the final product that I have yet to implement, that I'm waiting on some parts and tools for. So that's it, guys. We'll cut this one off at just after 10 minutes. If you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, good, bad, or otherwise, I do appreciate if you leave that below. I do like talking to you guys and hearing your thoughts. So go ahead and do that if you will. If not, I'll see you guys on the next one, and thanks for watching.